What's up, Planeswalkers? Back here with the third of 5 Commander pre-constructed decks. This is the Jirina Kudro Ruthless Regiment. I assume that she is of relation to General Kudro. She is a human soldier. When she enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token for each time you've cast a commander from the command zone this game. Other humans you control get +2/+0. So she works as the commander herself or in support of another commander, especially if you've cast it a few times, or maybe the partner commanders that are probably in here because all of them have partner commanders apparently. So we've got this, we've got the orange one, another of those, no idea, and this. All right. So as before, let's scoot this over just a little bit. Scoot her over a little bit. There we go. There we go. Now I'm comfy sitting here, getting ready to talk to you guys about a human deck. So this is another of the Triome color set. Let's go ahead and pull out the tokens. And then we'll get to the basic lands as we get to them. Okay. So, we got the commanders. There are 4 foil cards in here. Of course, we've already talked about Jirina Kudro. There is Kelsine the Plague, another legendary creature, human assassin. So instead of a soldier, this one seeks to murderify you in sneaky ways. 3-color, 2/2 vigilance haste. Pretty neat. Kelsine the Plague gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. Kelsine deals 1 damage to target creature you don't control. When that creature dies this turn, you get an experience counter. Ooh, experience counters coming back. I dig it. And this would be the partner commanders. We've got Trin, Champion of Freedom, partners with Sylvar, Devourer of the Free. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, create a human soldier creature token. And then Sylvar is a 4/2 menace. So sacrifice a human, put a +1/+1 counter on Sylvar, Devourer of the Free. It gains indestructible until end of turn. Well, that's a neat little interplay. Turn 4, turn 5. Making things, doing stuff, having a good time. Bajuka Bog, exiling graveyards, good choice. Boros Garrison, Command Tower, Myriad Landscape, Nomad Outposts, all the tap lands that you might expect. Unclaimed Territory is good. That is, of course, human. Otherwise, it's colorless, but, that works out. Bloodfell Caves, Evolving Wilds. I do like that new Evolving Wilds. And then some lands. All right. So we got Call the Coppercoats. This is a Strive. The spell costs 1 and a plains and a white mana more to cast for each target beyond the first. So initial is 3, then 5, then 7, and then if you're playing an even bigger game, keep on going. Create X 1/1 white human soldier creature tokens, where X is the number of creatures those opponents control. So you can really plentiful up your board a little bit. Let me stack them back up. Flawless Maneuver. If you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. That's neat. Verge Rangers. 3/3 first strike. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. As long as an opponent controls more lands than you, you may play lands from the top of your library. That's cool. Missing land drops, but you got one coming in. You can play lands. Now, of course, you can only do it if you have a land play available. You can't, play extra lands. But still, pretty neat. Species Specialist enters the battlefield. Choose a creature type. Whenever a creature of the chosen type dies, you may draw a card. So you can put that on humans, especially with, the Devourer in there, eating people. Or you can put it on whatever your opponents have. Titan Hunter. At the beginning of each player's end step, if no creatures died this turn, Titan Hunter deals 4 damage to that player. Tap 1 in a black, sacrifice a creature, you gain 4 life. That's neat. No creatures died this turn. Oh, okay. So if no creatures died, you have to sacrifice 1 of your own to prevent yourself from losing 4 life from the Titan Hunter. It's kind of cool. 4/3 haste. Whenever Fireflux squad attacks, you may exile another target attacking creature you control. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, and the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. Neat. So you exile a token, go find another creature that you can put on the battlefield tapped and attacking. Frontier Warmonger. 4/4. Whenever 1 or more creatures attack one of your opponents or a planeswalker they control, those creatures gain menace until end of turn. That works for everybody. Molten Echoes. As Molten Echoes enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Human, obviously. Whenever a non-token creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. That token gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Okay. Well, with this being in white, if there's some blink effects, you could bounce things and make tokens over and over again. Sanctuary Blade becomes attached to a creature. Choose a color. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has protection from the last chosen color. Well, that's neat. Movable protection. Bounty Agent's a reprint from Guilds. No, from either Guilds or Ravnica Allegiance. I don't remember which one. Sack it. Destroy target legendary permanent that's an artifact, creature, or enchantment. Citywide Bust is a reprint. Destroy all creatures with toughness 4 or greater. Cleansing Nova. Destroy all creatures or destroy all artifacts and enchantments. Dearly Departed, flying. As long as Dearly Departed is in your graveyard, each human creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Frontline Medic. Whenever Frontline Medic and at least 2 other creatures attack, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Neat. That seems like a reprint from, I don't know, Gatecrash maybe? One of the Ravnica ones, because it's got the Boros signal on it, sigil on it. Sacrifice Frontline Medic, counter target spell with X in its mana cost unless its controller pays 3. So usually X means they've tapped out their mana source, and then you're like, oh, by the way. Increasing Devotion, create 5 1/1 white human creature tokens. If the spell was cast from a graveyard, create 10 of those tokens instead. Knight of the White Orchid, neat. It's a reprint that's actually useful, and I actually kind of needed an extra one because I'm working on a mono white Pioneer deck. First strike, when it enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, you can search your library for a plains and put it on the battlefield. Magus of the Disc. When Magus of the Disc enters the battlefield tapped, you can tap it and 1 to destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. Odric Master Tactician. First strike. When Odric Master Tactician and at least 3 other creatures attack, you choose which creatures block this combat and how those creatures block. Riders of Gavany. 3/3 Vigilance. As Riders of Gavany enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Human creatures you control have protection from creatures of the chosen type. That's excellent versus other tribal decks. Thalia's Lieutenant enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each other human you control. Whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Thalia's Lieutenant. Thraben Doomsayer, that kind of seems like it's from Avacyn or Innistrad. One of those two, I think, has the Thrabens. Create a 1/1 white human creature token. Just tap it. Does a thing. As long as you have 5 or less life, other creatures you control get +2/+2. That last part isn't something that you really want to have happen in a Commander game. But if it does, you might be able to swing back on the victory there. Unexpectedly Absent, X and 2. Put target non-land permanent into its owner's library just beneath the top X cards of that library. Disciple of Bolas. When Disciple of Bolas enters the battlefield, sacrifice another creature. You gain X life and draw X cards, where X is that creature's power. Painful Truths. Zendikar, maybe? Yep, Zendikar. It says so in there. You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast this spell, which would be max of 3. Zathrid Necromancer. 2/2. Whenever a Necromancer or another human creature you control dies, tap and create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. Alesha Who Smiles at Death. Another reprint. 3/2 First Strike. Whenever Alesha Smiles at Death attacks, you may pay extra stuff. If you do, return target creature card with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Neat. Captivating Crew. That's from Ixalan or Rivals, one of the two. Gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. And activate this ability only anytime that you could cast a sorcery. Fumiko the Lowblood. Bushido X. That's from... I don't know. It seems like it should be Kamigawa, but maybe it was. But where X is the number of attacking creatures. Creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able. So, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Magus of the Wheel. Sacrifice Magus of the Wheel. Each player discards their hand, then draws 7 cards. Outpost Siege. That's from Khans or Dragons of Tarkir. As Outpost enters the battlefield, choose Khans or Dragons. If you choose Khans, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. If you choose Dragons, whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, Outpost Siege deals 1 damage to any target. Shared Animosity. Love it. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. Yeah, that was in my Krenko deck. Yeah, I don't do a whole lot of anything but turning things sideways. So this is right up my alley. This is a deck that I fully understand how to pilot. Each human creature you control has tap red and it. This creature deals 1 damage to any target. So if you have Vigilance, being able to do that over and over and over again. Adriana, Captain of the Guard. 4/4 with melee. Other creatures you control have melee. Nice. Make your stuff big. Crackling Doom deals 2 damage to each opponent. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls. Sexy. Nahiri the Harbinger. This is the Planeswalker from this particular build. Per +2, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So, looting is good. Exile target enchantment, tapped artifact, or tapped creature. And her ultimate, search your library for an artifact or creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It gains haste. Return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. Battlefield Forge. It's the Pain land from this one. Exotic Orchard, Shadowblood Ridge, Smoldering Marsh, Spine Rock Knoll, Windbrisk Heights. A couple more of those. Then we get the Bonder's Ornament, which is in all of them. Arcane Signet's in all of them. Other Signet, Commander's Sphere that I'm going to take out. Heirloom Blade. The equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever a equipped creature dies, you may reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card that shares a creature type with it. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So a creature dies, you go get another creature. Another Signet, Skull Clamp. Oh, I love Skull Clamp. Soul Ring, Sanctuary Lockdown, that's from Ikoria. Humans get +1/+1. Whenever another creature you control dies, opponents lose life. Each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Dire Tactics, exile target creature. If you don't control a human, you lose it. Lose life equal to the creature's toughness. General's Enforcer, good. Martial Impetus, we talked about in the last one. Parasitic Impetus in the last one. And Shiny Impetus. Did we talk about this one? Yeah, I think so. It doesn't matter. They're nice. Banisher Priest is good. I like to exile stuff. Cavalry Pegasus. You know, humans get flying because they ride the Pegasus. Devout Chaplain. Ambitions cost. You draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. That's really pretty decent for black. Human Rogue Ally. Humble Defector. I don't think I'm familiar with that one. Draw 2 cards. Target opponent gains control of Humble Defector. Activate this ability only during your turn. That's very much a politics card. Vigilante Justice. Whenever a human enters the battlefield under your control, Vigilante Justice deals 1 damage to any target. Garna the Blood Flame. Flash for a 3/3 for 5, which is gross, but giving all your creatures haste is pretty good. Terminate's a good removal. Alright, so yeah, this deck is pretty straightforward. If you're looking for a good deck that you can just beat some face with, this is definitely the one for you. It's pretty easy to upgrade because there's humans everywhere. Just find some good humans that you like that are in the colors red, white, or black, and you are good to go. This was the one I was looking forward to second most because I'm a big fan of tribal anything. So, yeah, that was Ruthless Regiment. I like it. I look forward to playing it against some people, and in the follow-up video where I talk about each of these, hopefully we will have some good stuff to say. So, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe, like, ring the bell notification, all that normal YouTube stuff, and I will check you guys in the next video, Planeswalkers.